YouTube, what's going on? I don't know about you, but for me, school is out for summer. And for life, because I graduated college. But more importantly, this time is the same time as the opening scene in High School Musical 2, the Oscar snub, the greatest film of the modern era. Much like I did for High School Musical 1, I'm going to give my translation of High School Musical 2 for you guys. Let us begin. So the movie kicks off and we're at none other than East High School, and it's the last day of school. The final bell rings and they sing a song about how school's over. What else do you do when school's over? Everyone's complaining about how they really need summer jobs, especially Troy, Zac Efron, because he needs to pay for college. Sharpay, Ashley Tisdale, extremely interested in Troy, discovers that Troy's looking for a job and decides to work her magic to get him one at the country club that her parents own. And he negotiates that the only way he will accept this job is if they hire his entire group of friends. The only thing more obnoxious than Troy trying to negotiate this is that they accept and hire like 12 kids from East High School to work at the country club. This makes Sharpay extremely upset because that means Gabriella, Vanessa Hudgens, Troy's current girlfriend, also will work. So Sharpay goes to her right-hand man, Mr. Fulton, who's like in charge of the whole country club, and basically tells Fulton, make these kids' jobs as miserable as possible so that they want to quit, so that me and Troy can be alone and I can try to steal him from his longtime girlfriend, Gabriella Montez. So Fulton basically makes their jobs miserable, but Troy rallies the troops by singing the song Work This Out, where he encourages them that everything is gonna be okay. They're fortunate enough to have jobs anyway, since they spent the entire opening scene of the movie complaining about how they couldn't find summer jobs anywhere. These kids are so ungrateful. So Troy invites Gabriella to have a picnic with him on the golf course, even though this is strictly forbidden. Sharpay uses binoculars and sees that this is happening, so she goes to Fulton to turn on the sprinklers to get them wet, and also then get them in trouble. So Fulton goes up to them and yells at them and said, hey, being on the golf course when you aren't golfing is strictly forbidden. If I catch you doing this 2 more times, you're out of here. Now I understand the whole 3-strike rule, but when something is strictly forbidden, why would you give them the opportunity to do that 1 more time without any sort of repercussions at all? Hey, you're not allowed to do this, but you can do this 1 more time with a free pass, but if you do it another time after that, you're fired. So just like in High School Musical 1, Troy and Gabriella overhear the piano girl writing another song that she wrote specifically for Troy and Gabriella to perform at the talent show at the country club, because apparently that's a huge deal at this country club, and Sharpay has one every single year. Well, yeah, her parents own the freaking country club. Sharpay finds out about this and gets extremely upset, so she devises this whole master plan where she's gonna sing with Troy and she's gonna break Gabriella and them up and all this blah blah blah, and it's like ridiculous, and here's how it goes. So she starts this master plan by telling Troy and Chad, Corbin Blue, stupid afro kid, to be caddies for her parents and her as they play a round of golf. Now High School Musical 1 established that Troy is really good at basketball and singing slash dancing slash acting, but in this movie you also learn that Troy is extremely good at golf. So Troy and Sharpay's dad hit it off because they're both really good at golf and they're talking about golf and all this other stuff, and Sharpay's dad talks to Troy and says that he's going to get the entire board of trustees of the University of Albuquerque together for a dinner to offer Troy a basketball scholarship. The University of Albuquerque actually closed in 1986, but on the Wikipedia page there's also a section called In Fiction, and they say, in the fictitious world of High School Musical, the University of Albuquerque is still open and has a, quote, world-renowned basketball program. Now the problem with Troy being at this dinner is that it runs so long that he's late for his date with Gabriella that he had promised. Oh no! Fortunately, Gabriella's understanding goes, you know what, it's okay, just like, don't do it again, I'd really appreciate if you just let me know you can make it. So to try to make it up to Gabriella, Troy's like, hey, let's go for a late night swim even though we're not supposed to. So they go for a late night swim, and of course they get caught by Fulton. Maybe because going for a late night swim in the pool where you're jumping off the diving board doing cannonballs and screaming and laughing is really obnoxious, and the guy that's in charge of the country club that told you can't do things like this probably works in the country club and can see you doing this. Oh my god. To their defense, he did give them that extra strike, so why not go out with a bang and do it? So they, they use that extra strike to the fullest, and he goes, you have 1 more strike. The next day, Troy goes into Fulton's office and he finds out that he's been promoted from dishwasher to assistant golf pro, where he gives people lessons in golf. You find out later that Sharpay worked her magic to make this happen. Rather than his whole group of friends be happy for him, they're mad that he doesn't have to suffer with them as well. True friends. While this is going on, there's a subplot in the movie which I think is significantly more interesting than the main plot in the movie, and it's basically how Ryan, Sharpay's brother who always gets short-shafted by Sharpay, decides that he doesn't want to put up with Sharpay's tyranny anymore and is going to become his own person. I wish the whole movie was about this. Ryan's my favorite character in the whole series. Basically, he works with Kelsey and Gabriella and all them to choreograph choreograph the whole thing for the talent show, and the whole high school who did the whole musical together is gonna put together a song and dance, and that's super awesome. There's this big annual baseball game that happens at the country club between the workers and the people that reside at the country club, which is a weird dynamic between like rich people and the people that are serving the rich people. Troy's supposed to play in this game, but he turns it down to play basketball with the entire University of Albuquerque basketball team because he'll probably get a scholarship if he practices with the team, which in my mind is a perfect life decision by Troy, but to all of his friends, this is him selling out and being a complete jerk. Now I understand like hanging out with your friends is important, but when you have the opportunity to get a full scholarship to what seems to be the greatest basketball program in all of college sports, you take that opportunity. Yes, this baseball game is great, but utterly meaningless, where this can seal the deal of me getting a scholarship to my dream school. Why can't this group of friends ever be happy for Zac Efron when he achieves great things? So to try to get back at Troy, Gabriella invites Ryan to play baseball with them, and this sparks I Don't Dance, which is a battle song between Ryan and Corbin Bleu, where Ryan is trying to convince Corbin Bleu to join the Wildcats in doing the whole dance performance, and Corbin Bleu is like, nah man, I don't dance, even though he sings and dances through the entire first movie and this movie. More importantly, he sings and dances during the entire song, which is entitled I Don't Dance. I can't. And basically Ryan wins Corbin Bleu over because Ryan is also good at baseball, and Corbin Bleu's like, wow, if you're good at sports, I should probably stop being such a little whiny baby and I should dance with you. Which further supports my claim that Ryan is the best character in this whole movie. When Troy comes back from the basketball game, Sharpay informs him that the two of them are going to be singing a duet at the talent show. Now Troy obviously doesn't want to do this, but Sharpay says, hey, you promised me you'd sing with me later, and this is when I'm going to take you up on that promise. Because at the scholarship dinner, Sharpay tries to get Troy to sing for the board of trustees, but Troy's like, no, this is a really awkward situation for me to sing, which is completely justified, and she makes him promise her that he will sing with her at a later time. Ryan tells Sharpay that he's been choreographing the whole Wildcats and they're going to win the talent show, so Sharpay gets really upset and works with Fulton to make the rule that all of the people who are hired as workers have to work during the talent show so they can't perform. Gabriella gets really mad at Sharpay, and then she gets really mad at Troy that all this is happening, and she's like, Troy, you've been acting so differently, blah, 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 blah. And Troy's like, I'm only acting this way and doing these things because they're helping me get a scholarship to the University of Albuquerque. And she's like, you know what, I'm done. Troy goes home and has this big deep life talk with his dad, who basically tells him something along the lines of like, you'll find the answer deep within your soul, which is stupid. The next scene is the greatest scene in the entire movie, the entire trilogy, possibly in the entire world. It is the song Bet On It. You might be familiar with it. It's where Zac Efron is wearing all black and is anger dancing his way through a golf course, Kevin Bacon Footloose style, about how upset he is about all the things that are going on and how you can bet on it that he's gonna win his friends back and be his own person. What the message of the movie is trying to say is like, be yourself, but really it gives this weird undertone of you should do whatever your friends want you to do, which was subtly hinted at in the first movie, but is much more apparent in this one. So when Troy comes back to work, he tells Fulton, you know what, I don't want to be in this fancy golf job anymore. Put me as the dishwasher again, and then that way I can't perform in the show, so sucks to suck, Sharpay. So Sharpay gets really mad, and then Ryan's like, hey, basically, like, you either are gonna perform by yourself, or you're gonna let all of us perform. And she's like, fine, you cannot perform. Ryan further proves to be the best character here, but also by convincing Troy to still sing with Sharpay despite all the craziness, because he's like, you know what, she's been preparing for this duet, so you should probably do it since she's put all this time and effort into it. Ryan then goes up to Troy and says, hey, Sharpay wanted you to learn this new song instead, here it is. Troy's very confused, but he learns it, and then he goes to Sharpay afterwards and goes, hey, why did you decide to switch the song? And she goes, I didn't ask you to switch the song. And then Ryan goes, exactly. So we're not exactly sure what's going on, but you'll find out later, and it's the greatest thing ever. Troy goes out there and sings by himself, not knowing if anyone's gonna do the other part of the duet since Sharpay didn't learn it. He starts singing, and then Gabriella comes out of the crowd and starts singing the second part of the duet, which of course shocks Troy and everyone watching the film. Then you realize that Ryan and the piano girl got together and wrote a song for Troy and Gabriella, did this whole sabotage plan so that Troy didn't actually have to sing with Sharpay, and then devised it so that Gabriella sings the other part and they get back together and rekindle their fire of their relationship. So not only has Ryan decided to become his own person, but he's made Corbin Bleu not a jerk, he's brought the Wildcats together to perform a song, and he brought Troy and Gabriella back together after they broke up. Further proving that Ryan is not only the greatest person in this High School Musical film, but in fact the entire trilogy. Basically, Fulton gets up on the mic and says who's going to be the winner, and he's probably going to say that Sharpay's the winner, but she actually turns out to be really nice, snags the microphone and goes, Ryan is the winner, and gives Ryan the trophy. Of course, because Ryan's the best. And basically they're all happy, they all sing, they have this big pool party afterwards, and guess who's at the pool party? Miley Cyrus! Woo! All the couples get back together, they're all happy, and Troy and Gabriella kiss under the stars and the fireworks and the sprinklers of the golf course go off, and everything's magical. So that's High School Musical 2, or as I like to call it, Ryan Evans Musical. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you like this video, click like, if it was one of your favorites, click favorite, that's what buttons are there for. If you want to see what I did for this for High School Musical 1, it's right here. And if you want to see my last video, it's a best of Vines part 2 that I've done, it's in the description. I've been doing a lot of Vines recently, and I'm actually really proud of them, so if you guys want to watch them, I'd very much appreciate it. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you sometime in the very near future. Ryan, I love you. You're the best. You're the best.